lost track of how many episodes we've done.
33.
33. It figures Rick would know that. Welcome to the Street Scene Power Hour with Larry Ward, the bearded dude down there, the other bearded dude, Rick Guerrera. I shaved mine off because I looked like Larry.
Partial beard.
I didn't want to look like Larry or Rick, so I shaved it off. But we are too bad.
It's a tough act to follow.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Greg.
We are welcomed. We're going to welcome our guests here from the Rockabilly. We got. Let me start off by this. We can roll our R's for this whole podcast because we've got the Rockabilly Ruckus with Ed Stanton and Brad Lewis, and we have the Reliability Rally with Lou Turicik. I got that right, didn't I? Yeah, all right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we've got the quad R's, so to speak. Everything's R's. Even my last name. So you guys got to change your last names.
Larry doesn't have any R's. It's Rick.
You're Rick. Oh, yeah.
No, I'm Corey's.
You're Corey's dad.
Corey's dad. Yeah, don't make it.
Let's start off with Ed and Brad. You guys can jump in and introduce yourselves. And what are we featuring here today on this part of the podcast?
Well, I'm Ed Stanton. I guess creator of the Rockabilly Ruckus. Weekend car show. No, not car show. Weekend event. We do have a small car show portion, but we run a 5/8 dirt mile track. We have Rockabilly bands. We have pinup contests.
It is an event. You know that.
It's a gathering. It's
a gathering. It is. Don't come for a trophy.
Cultural family gathering. Yeah.
It's a very cool show. I had so much fun when we recorded that a couple years ago. It's really cool. It's different than any other show, you know?
It is. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's let Lou jump in here. You want to introduce yourself, Lou? And what are we talking about on this end of it?
Hey, afternoon, gang. This is Lou Turicik. I'm the co-founder of Reliability Rally. We call it the original Jalopy Motorcycle Tour. It's a weekend motorcycle touring event exclusively for motorcycles purchased for $1,000 or less. So see what you can dig up.
So you're like the 24 Hour of Lemons, right?
It is. It is the 24 Hours of Lemons of motorcycles. We run 400 miles over 2 days.
That's awesome. So we're all kind of in the same group here. You know, the Rockabilly Ruckus. Some of the rat rods they pull in out there, and the customs is just
really cool.
$1,000 or under. Yeah. You know, and then we got the motorcycle end of it, which is the Reliability Rally, $1,000 or under. So, Rick, you've got some stuff to line up with Lou here on the Reliability Rally. So. Why don't you throw some questions at him here?
Larry,
whatever your name is, why you touch on the swap meet, how it went this weekend too. So,
okay, we'll go to the swap meet real quick. It's been going on for 15, 20 years, maybe. And Saturday set a record for attendance, which meant that, when I got the golf cart that my son gave me to ride around on so I wouldn't have to walk, I had to be extremely careful. I mean, you literally could run into people because they're just so crazed at looking at stuff. But it was a great time. I sold some of my Harley stuff, which is good because that $750 bike is exceeding $1,000 right now. It's a
you're out. You're not participating anymore.
Anyways, so the whole swap meet went really well. It set a modern day record. We had obviously rain on Saturday or Sunday, which kind of closed out the whole thing. And I think Corey shut it down around 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. But many of the vendors, if you can believe it, actually sold out. And after they got done, they left around 8 o'clock Saturday night. They had nothing really worthwhile to sell on Sunday. So off they went. So that thing went really well. It was kind of a relaxation. I took 2 or 3 days without worrying about getting this thing running. And I'll give you a quick update on the bike. I sent you some pictures, and then we'll get into reliability rally. But
before you get into that, we recorded that Dave and Ed's swap meet.
Yep.
Street Scene did. Greg and I were there. We were there the Friday, the second day it was open. And
yeah,
we talked,
I missed you guys. I didn't get an invite to record, so I don't know what happened.
So we talked with Corey, but he wouldn't go on camera. He wouldn't go on camera with us. So I was like, this guy. He said he sold out all the vendors there. Everything was sold out. Yeah, yes. He said so, which was really
Fantastic.
good. And, we had a good time there.
Well, he's got one in July and one in September. Then you've got the original March and November in Canton. Then he's created a toy show. It went over well in March, coming back in November. And he's also going to bring a big thing called Comic-Con, comics and cards and stuff like that. And the Rib and Rock Festival will happen, I think, in June or July. I can't remember the date.
What's Comic-Con?
Like, comic books, superheroes.
Okay.
I'm looking for Wonder Woman.
Well, you better keep dreaming, man. Linda Carter ain't around for that one.
She's only going to be about 7 inches tall.
Yeah. Don't do this to a guy. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, all right.
She's only about 80 years old now, too, Wonder Woman. So.
Well, anyways, so
is Larry, right?
Yeah, pretty close. He's getting there.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the reliability rally and get out from under old Lair Bear. Anyway, so I had heard about this thing the last couple of years on the internet, and one of my friends, Pat McGovero, who is the president of the Motorcycle Sport Touring Association, originally signed up, and he had gotten an old beater bike, but I think he got to the point where he realized, hey, I might not have this thing going and kind of pulled out, but I'm sticking to it, and I have been working through a 1993 Sportster that I bought in Pennsylvania, where the guy said it would start and then shut off, not run. And then, so there's the part of it.
So that's what we're looking at, a 93 Sportster, if you watch the video portion of this later on after the podcast. So.
And then if you can go to the next picture, which shows there's a set of wheels that I put together for the bike, but I'm running out of time because there might be some spacer adjustments needed. So I'm probably just going to pull the mags off. I bought a set of tires and probably just put the tires on the mags because I know the spacing is correct and I don't have to worry about it. So I think that's how close this thing's going to be. I'm hoping to ride it Saturday for the first time ever, but there's one of the problems. The first thing I know.
What we're looking at is a red and orange wire that's cut. So you think that's a real problem? Can't you just tie them together and see what happens?
Yeah, I want the brake light on all the time. But I ran into a problem where on a 93 they use circuit breakers, and there's 4 of them in the bike. 2 of them have jumpers on them so that whatever key position you're in, all the lights come on. There's no parking brake lights. So what I found out, and the problem I ran into was I put the lights on, and I noticed that the filament was extremely bright, and that meant that the brake light was on, but the tail light would never light. So I eventually figured, I thought, well, I'll start with the easy thing, the bulb. Well, there was nothing wrong with the bulb. And then I ohmed that out. So then I went to the handlebar switch, and I took that thing out just to get it out of the circuit and test it, and everything was fine. So that left the rear master cylinder brake switch, which is hydraulically operated. I disconnected the wires, ran an ohm meter across it, and found out that the thing was indeed closed. So I have a bad switch. So I ordered a new switch and stuff there. So I'm going to get through that, and I'm hopeful to get the whole thing together and ride it for about 150 miles on Saturday, just to see where we're at.
93 is an Evo motor, right?
Yes.
Is that the 883 or the big one?
Well, it's an 883. Supposedly it's converted to a 1200. I can verify it.
Supposedly.
They're going to part and find out.
There's the way to verify it. You can put the piston at bottom dead center and put a straw in there. Put the straw all the way to one edge of the piston and bring the straw and mark it at the outside of the spark plug hole. If that thing's around 3 7/8 or something, then it's a 1200. If it's 3 5/8 or thereabout, then it's a 883. So, I may get around to that. I may not. I just need it to be dependable because it's 200 miles. Plus, I'm going to ride it about 125 to 140 miles down. So that could be a 700-mile weekend on a bike that right now I haven't even taken around the block. But I've had a lot of these.
So what? That's half the fun of it.
Well, the Evo motor's the oil on the inside kind, so you're in luck there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had iron heads. I probably wouldn't do it with an iron head, but the Evos are pretty straightforward, and there isn't too much to go wrong with them. I've had a bunch of them apart in that. But let's get to welcoming Lou to the Armstrong Street Scene Power Hour. Lou is one of the coordinators of what they call the Reliability Rally, and we're going to have some pictures up in a minute. And Lou, I wanted to talk to you about it. First of all, what is the genesis of this whole rally? Who thought of it? And we'll talk about the progression over the years for the rally.
Sure. So like most great ideas, it was thought up over some beers at the end of a motorcycle ride.
That works.
It's like all our ideas here.
Yeah.
It's funny how that brain juice helps.
Yes, it does.
We were pretty heavily inspired by the old British Top Gear episodes where the three hosts would go buy some crap car and they would drive it across France or South America or somewhere, and have to go through a series of challenges. And we keep thinking to ourselves, how could we try and replicate that experience? And it dawned on us, we're all big gearheads. The co-founder and I were both we were ex-engineers at Honda, so we're old work buddies. And we're thinking, how can we replicate this experience? And it came down to motorcycles because they're just so cheap. What can you get for $1,000? You start skimming through Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, and like most people who work in an office run that way too much. And and back in 2017, I pulled the trigger on an 81 Honda CB400 Twin, and drafted up a really quick, ugly set of rules and threw down the gauntlet to our riding group. Says, what can you get for $1,000? Meet me in upstate New York and at the end of the summer, and we'll throw it down. So it started off as just a couple of buddies, trying to rise up to a challenge, and it was very experimental. Our first ride was based out of Ithaca, New York. We rode around the Finger Lakes area, had some calamity, had some breakdowns. But overall, it was a terrific proof of concept that you can absolutely get a riding motorcycle for $1,000 and it will go the distance. Note that $1,000 is purchase price only. So you can throw whatever.
So it's okay if you have $10,000 in your Sportster.
Yeah, I mean it's maybe not in the spirit of the event, but yes, absolutely. There's modifications and repairs are unlimited. So there's some dudes that will just try and drag something out of a barn and run it like an old UJMs are really popular from the 80s, like KZ400s and all the Honda CBs. Or there's guys that'll build full blown choppers. There was a kid who came, Ian. He built a full blown chopper out of a 2007 Honda Shadow he got for $1,000. And it was mean. It was mean. So there's a whole gamut of entries.
Well, I thought something would be, I'm sure that other guys have probably taken Sportsters on something like this. And normally with the Evo motor, they're pretty reliable. But for $1,000, I mean, I got a deal on it because the kid was so sick of it. It wouldn't run, Yeah, so I got a pretty good deal on it and kind of knew my way around them. But I think if I was to try and win this thing or whatever, do place well, I probably would have gone with one of the big four. For $1,000, you can get a heck of a nice mid-80s bike that's not going to break if you get a decent one, and you could ride it all over the place. And you probably don't even have to have oil in it, and it'll still run. But the spirit of it is get something that that might be a little bit of a challenge. I had that 78 BMW, but then I had paid a little bit more than $1,000 for it, so I pulled out of that.
Oh,
but,
okay.
I've done some crazy things like have you ever
dish detergent? Throw it in the current case. Throw some dish detergent in there. You see if it runs on that.
Have you ever heard of the Lake Erie?
Yes, I have. It was on my list of things to do.
Well, I am the 50cc record holder for the Lake Erie Loop.
How much coffee is involved? You just run an IV.
5 bottles of, that stuff that keeps you awake. What do they call that? 5-hour energy.
Yes.
5 bottles of I was the poster boy for the 5-hour energy. And I did a little bit different. My 50cc ride was a Tomos moped.
Oh my gosh.
It was a 2-speed moped that had a bigger carburetor, but it was 50cc. I had an expansion pipe, a big gas tank on the back because it only held 0.9 of a gallon in the front. I had a pit crew. It took me 24 hours and 3 minutes, and that record still stands. Not because I don't think anybody could do it. I think nobody's stupid enough to do it anymore. After they heard about what happened to me.
So what was your cruise speed? Like 40?
Wide open, flat down on the bars, about anywhere from 32 to 38, depending on the road, the wind, the elevation. Yeah. And
so I can relate in Reliability Rally 2019. Actually, this shirt that I've got, we held it in Fayetteville, West Virginia, and I rode a Kawasaki KE100, 350 miles across the mountains of West Virginia. All raging 8 horsepower of 8 horsepower 2-stroke goodness.
You were rowing
across the mountains.
Okay, I just
Sounds
had
like
a
an Edsel.
flashback of Dumb and Dumber. That's the one. I could see you driving up one of the hills like that with a whole line of traffic behind you.
Tell you what, your eyes open when a triaxle comes screaming up behind you. You're going 37 miles an hour. And
well, here is what the neat thing was. I had a pit crew with me that I had one guy that was a mechanic, one guy that was a nutrition expert, another guy was just a driver. And, it was kind of fun until about 3 a.m. And I'm up in the middle of Canada and I've got an air cleaner that's got it's a K&N filter, but it's like a big sponge on the end. It sticks out like the old XR 750s. Well, once it started raining, it filled with water and shut the bike down. And then I got into the van and sat there. And then the pit crew come out, put out a big awning, took it all out, drained it all out. And for the first 3 miles, it wouldn't go any faster than 20 miles an hour. And then it started to clear up. And I got back up to my normal cruising speed of 28 to 32, And then I got caught drafting. And I got a warning on that because I'd get up behind my van and I'd be like a foot and a half.
Drafting's illegal. You got to.
Yes, you can't draft, but I didn't realize, I told him I really didn't realize I was drafting. Although I ran a DR200 a couple years before that and drafted the semis till they got all pissed off at me. And I finished 3rd in the big bike class, but so I came back and it was kind of fun. But similar to what you're doing, I did the Moto Giro in America a couple years ago in the Catskill Mountains. And I had a 1966 Bridgestone 60 Sport. And I was in the small class, and it's just like the ISDT where you go in and you go into your starting block right on your minute. You got to tag and you got to hit stops at certain times, and then there's time trial things. There's a speed trial, there's a brake trial, there's obstacle trials, and even though I had that motor rebuilt, it was running 20-1, Lou, on the oil ratio. Well, I tried to lean it out.
Fogging everyone.
Yeah, you're smoking the heck out of everyone behind you, rolling coal, sort of.
Yeah. Well, I tried to lean it out. By leaning it out, it would just go a little bit faster. And
did you have a bandolier of spark plugs?
Well, yeah, not only that, but I seized the motor 3 different times. And every time I'd seize the motor, I'd have to sit and wait for about 15 minutes until the ring's unstuck, and then I could go. But I had $1,500 in that stupid motor, and I torched it in one day. At the turn, I was in first place in my class, but I failed to get out onto my minute, and eventually I DNF'd the second day and blew the whole thing because the seal flew.
At Reliability Rally in May, you'll have plenty of time to get on your bike and get going. We don't track you down to the minute. Don't worry about that.
What's your course? What's your course there, Lou?
So we seek out famous riding destinations, typically up and down Appalachia. Last year, we went down to Tail of the Dragon in Western North Carolina, and also held an event near Seneca Rocks, West Virginia, which is near the Shenandoah Mountain Ridge, which is possibly one of the best riding areas in the entire country.
Bet.
So we seek out the best corners. Our co-founder Colin is an absolute route guru. He is the master at route planning, and he finds a way to sniff it out. Our first ride of this year in Burr Oak State Park, Ohio, it's entitled "Secrets of Ohio." A lot of motorcyclists don't necessarily think of Ohio as a fantastic riding destination, but the southeast corner is an absolute playground for two-wheelers.
Yeah. Well,
how many's in your group when you ride like that?
So for Burr Oak, we're gonna have 41 attendees.
Wow.
So we're gonna break down into ride groups of about 6 or 7 riders per group to keep it manageable. So it's been growing every year.
And where do you get let's get some contact information on here first if somebody wants to find out about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Start off on our website, reliabilityrally.com.
Okay.
We're also on Facebook. We have a private group for, bike builds, event information, and just general hobnobbing and banter. It's Reliability Rally Garage. If you look it up, we'll let you in. I promise.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a rescue truck behind you when you're?
Yes, we do. So starting in 2020, we started implementing a chase truck. So breakdowns do happen. We allow about 20 minutes to fix something if you have an issue. Sometimes things just need tightened up, or a trim piece falls off or something. So those kind of things you can absolutely handle roadside. Swap out a plug or some spark plugs or something. Okay. But we got to keep the wagon train rolling. So after your 20-minute timer's up, you have the option to either get in the truck and ride the rest of the day, which is not that fun, or make a donation to our charity and unlock the scooter of shame, which you're able to ride for the rest of the day. I did send Larry a picture of this. You should pull it up if you can. It's a
scooter of shame.
I think it's a 1996 Honda Helix 250, which is an absolute demon on Dragon.
Oh yeah,
I don't have it, but the scooter of shame. You know what? That's something to get pictures of and just post the heck out of it. Because how many times have you used the scooter of shame?
Oh, it gets used every time. Someone always needs it.
Don't say Edsel again, Ed.
Oh man, I'm hoping not. That's why I'm getting out on that bike this weekend. I got to get at least 100 miles on that bike till I'm certain nothing's gonna go wonko.
There's so many factions in motorcycling. There's like the cruiser guys, the adventure guys, the sport bike guys. We really take all that and just blow it to pieces and say, listen, we're all riding garbage and we're going to have a good time.
Hey, that's a story of my life. That's all I ever do is drive garbage. You got to have one memory of one bike that stands out that you've had. Because there's got to be, I'm sure there's people that pulled crap off of a trailer and it's like, oh my God.
We've seen it all from two-stroke Kawasaki triples from the 70s up to, actually, I think I have the newest RR bike ever. This winter, I was able to pull out a 2013 Ninja 300. I pulled it out of a barn.
Oh, jeez. I'd like to have that just to have one.
Yeah. So we've seen it all from Harleys to BMWs to I would say the bulk of the participation is 80s and 90s Japanese stuff. My favorite reliability rally bike ever is Honda PC800, the Pacific Coast. It looks like a giant scooter, and it handles like a demon. If you've ever ridden one, it's shockingly good.
It's all plastic, man.
And it has a cooler in the back too.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about each day. When we get there on Friday, and thank God I got the lower bunk and not the upper bunk, because I don't.
We got you.
Yeah. But anyway, so we're going to get there on Friday. We're going to drink a lot of Captain Morgan and Coke, kumbaya around the fire.
That's right.
And then Saturday morning, we're going to have some kind of continental breakfast or something.
Yep. So we do light breakfast day one, and then we hit the road about 8:15 for a 200-mile loop of the best of Ohio's twisty roads. It's a lot of Southeast Ohio, Wayne National Forest area. The ride route is proprietary unless you sign up. So we'll send that out ahead of time. And there's some contests along the way. So we originally developed this thing to try and figure out who could dig up the best $1,000 bike. And to do that, you need to have some challenges. And over the years, the challenges have evolved a bit, but we have 7. There's overall purchase price. So the less you spend on your bike to buy it, the more points you get.
Okay.
There's reliability, which you get points for finishing the entire route. There is, there's an acceleration test. So we use a phone app to time an 8th mile, a very safe 8th mile drag race. There's
Larry, I'm sorry, you'd have lost that with that little bike you had there for the, going 38 miles an hour. So anyway, go ahead.
So there's the acceleration test, which favors the big bikes. Then there's the fuel economy test that favors the small bikes. And then the final 2 contests are voting contests. So there's rider's choice. So everyone who participates gets to vote on the bike that they like the best. And then there's best custom or best accessory. So the best modification or customization of a bike. So some people go really hog wild with this. We've seen chopper builds, we've seen cafe racer builds. My mod is I bring along a mini espresso machine and I just make coffee for people.
That sounds good.
Sometimes I'm not above buying votes.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm going to try and do depending on the weather, but either Saturday or Sunday, once I'm pretty comfortable that I think that bike is going to go okay, and I've already checked the belt to make sure, then I've got a section out in the country that's pretty straight and pretty flat and nobody's out there. I'm going to start practicing the drag race. And then also I've got a little thumb wheel on the bottom so I can hold the throttle up. And then once I'm pretty confident about taking off on the bike, then I'm going to try and get confident about the slow race and see if I can. That's not the best bike position wise.
So here's the thing: the slow race it doesn't really matter too much what you're riding. It matters how much you ride dirt bikes. It is literally a measure of how much you ride dirt bikes.
It's very hard to stand up on the pegs on that Sportster just because of the way they're up, and so and the bar position, because instead of being like either directly over the bars or slightly back, you're going to be almost in front of them. If you ever stood up on a Sportster, they're just real not good. So
we had a Sportster before, but it was a roadster. It was one of the mid control guys from the mid 2000s. So someone swiped one of those out of a dealer.
That would be good. I'll tell you what, that's that if it's that S model that had the dual plugs and had a really good Showa suspension on it, you could do pretty good with that, around the corners and stuff,
And again, where can we find information on that, Lou?
Check out our website, reliabilityrally.com.
Hey, one quick question. How did you, and then we'll ask you to stay with us for the whole show.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
But this Burr Oak Lodge and Conference Center, I've been down around there before, and that's a pretty cool place. I mean, that's going to be a nice place to hang out,
That's a big part of the event. So our slogan is competition, camaraderie, and misery. So there's always all three are present every.
That's good. I like that.
Every event, we have the competition. We have fun contests to keep the ride interesting and see who brought the best $1,000 bike. Camaraderie. So we do all the catering ourselves. It's going to be cookouts and cheap beer. So that's a big part of it too. So having a venue that's conducive to everyone hanging out and having a good time is really important. And it's amazing how these bikes would be derided by a lot of riders, but we end up bonding over how good they really are. And you'll see this, Larry, whenever we stop at a gas station somewhere, stop at a stop, you'll see other riders coming up riding Street Glides or BMWs or whatever they are riding. And they're going to want to do this. They're going to be like, oh, that is so cool.
And lastly, now there are some of the proceeds I think are benefiting one of the charities.
Absolutely. So this is something we've done from the very beginning. Portion of our proceeds from each ride, every event that we hold, go to the Neighborhood Resilience Project. It's a charity, an Orthodox Christian charity based in Pittsburgh that helps kids and families in traumatized communities. So it helps them with really boots on the ground stuff. Things like being able to see doctors for people who couldn't afford to. They have a backpack feeding program for kids that when they leave school on Friday, they get a backpack full of lunches and snacks for the weekend. It's really boots on the ground, down home work, and we're proud to support them. Last year, we were able to give them over $1,200. So
good.
Hey, Lou, how many miles you go on this tour?
It's 200 miles a day. So the entire ride weekend is 400 miles total.
Wow.
You stay in hotels and everything?
So we typically have a home base. So it'll be either cabins or a motel where we'll rent out the entire space. So we have like a home base where you come in, set up shop. The vast majority of people truck their bikes in because we have folks coming from New York, from Alabama, Michigan, all up and down the East Coast, as far away as even Florida. We got a guy coming up from Florida.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
So you're talking 200 miles a day. How many days you do this for?
2 rides. So the event, everyone arrives Friday night. We have a little cookout. We ride Saturday. We ride Sunday. Sunday night, we have a little award ceremony and end party, and then everyone ships out Monday morning.
It's like a weekend thing, a long weekend thing. Good.
That's right.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. I don't have a bike, but I have a quad. I'm a quad.
Well,
I can use that to pull guys out of the ditch.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and ride the bike. I think that's the spirit of it. I'm going to try and, if I'm comfortable, one way or the other, it's going down there. So, but I think it's going to be reliable enough. I've started it a couple of times now, and other than that,
it is called the Reliability Rally. It's not the Breakdown Bash.
Yeah, believe me, over the last couple of years, last year I was coming back from North Carolina in a torrential downpour, and the BMW quit, and I knew what it was because I've had them before, and it was the Hall effect sensor, and you can't fix that. I was lucky, though, that I was 50 miles from the dealership in New Philadelphia. I know him personally. He's used to be on my motorcycle show. So I called Gene up on a Sunday, and him and his wife got in the pickup truck, come all the way down, got in a trailer, picked me up, and took me back to the shop. And then my other buddy drove 70 miles to pick me up. So that was one thing. And then had an RT a couple years before that up in the Catskills in New York, and didn't that damn thing blow out in a rainstorm.
And people,
my wife said, why don't you just buy a bike that doesn't break down? I go, because they're $25,000.
Yeah.
No, I'd argue that all day.
She didn't ask about getting a new bike anymore.
No, she said they'll let you deal with the stuff you drive or you ride. So, hey, we want to hang around, Lou, because we were going to get some information from you later. Sure. We do, we've got about 30 minutes left. We want to get to Brad and Ed.
Ed and Brad from the Rockabilly Ruckus.
Ed, wake up.
Ruckus.
I'm looking for a bike.
You're shopping for a bike.
I'm looking for a bike.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
I mean, I already have 2 bikes I could use, but one's an Ironhead, so
that's oil.
How much did you pay for it? Can't be worth more than $1,000.
He doesn't pay
I
for
traded
stuff.
2 snowmobiles for it. So does that count?
He doesn't pay for stuff.
$1,000.
You know what I mean? I could have wants a snowmobile, and then I do have a '96 Sportster 1200 that I paid $600 for because the kid redid this whole thing, rebuilt the whole bike, painted it, everything. Nice bike. He went on vacation. His dad was drinking, took it out, did 8 cartwheels in the ditch. Folded the front end up underneath the bike, so he sold it to me for $600.
Well, there you go.
Well, you know what?
You're in line.
Yes.
Yeah. But wait a minute, Ed. How much did you pay for the snowmobile that you traded on the bike? See, they're gonna want to track this stuff.
Lou, do you ask for a list of tracking? He traded this.
All right, it's all honor system, and once in a while a bike shows up that raises some eyebrows, and that's one of the reasons we have the voting is because the bikes that break the rules get no love.
Honor system, Rick. You're out. Completely out, Rick. Yeah, there's no honor there.
No, not at all.
Tell us about the Rockabilly Ruckus, guys. We loved that show.
That was a great show. Great event. It was.
Thank you. Thanks.
How long you guys been doing it?
This is going to be the 6th year. It's been 7 years, but we didn't get to do COVID, so this will be the 6th year.
6 year. 6 years, really?
Count the 7.
I've got the first year panel hanging on my wall. You have a first year panel, Ed?
Brad has a first year panel, and he likes to bring that up. Because what Brad did was we have a charity auction that it's a Panel Jam charity auction. All the money goes to It's About the Warrior Foundation, which in the last 5 years we gave them real close to $80,000.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So the first year there was a panel that said Rockabilly Ruckus, And of course, Brad had to go up to the artist and say, hey, could you put first annual Rockabilly Ruckus on that? And so Brad's the only one that has one.
I didn't even know. I didn't even know Ed then. I had no idea who Ed Stanton was, and I kind of wish at times I'd have kept it that way. But
yeah, I was gonna say, did you want it? Did you want it to change now? Can you go back in time?
Yeah. Last annual Rockabilly Ruckus I'll ever attend.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm gonna get him that panel.
Yeah. Oh, tough guy. Yeah.
Hey, what I thought was cool is you could race there. You can use the dirt track.
I have to interject there. I actually had a dream one night. I was racing my car on that track at that show, and I'm like, well, now I've got to go do it at some point. So that's a cool part. They got a dirt track there it's a Trumbull County Fairgrounds, and when's this show coming up?
What's that?
When's this show coming?
It's the August 12th through 14th.
Okay. Yep.
So no matter what year it is, it's always the second weekend in August. This year it falls 12th through 14th.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Well, what else? There was some unique stuff that we came there.
Oh yeah,
we shot it's been how long ago was that? Rick?
A couple years ago.
4 or 5?
Yeah,
2 years.
Is it 2 years? Okay.
Ed's beard wasn't that big when we shot it, remember?
Right. Well, this is a winter thing. This is for the wife,
Yeah, that's why they laughed about the Edsel thing. That's why he said when the Edsel comment made, that he didn't really know what the deal.
If you watch the video version of this, we're going to throw some pictures up. You have some unique stuff out there. You've got you got kids stuff, you got food, you got pinup girls, you've got.
That's what I like. That's what I like.
I know, Rick. We know that.
I should have sent you the picture I had with that girl. I still have it.
Of course you do.
So what's the crux of the event? Is it hot rods and rat bikes and bands?
Yeah, we're really generous on the year. We're pre-79, but pretty much I would say 90 to 95% of it is like pre-64. It's a rockabilly theme. It's a rockabilly era pinups and stuff like that. So that was being pushed by the wind.
Okay, if you're looking at this, I want to explain this. We're looking at, if you're listening to this podcast, I've got a picture of an Edsel. Of course, we were ripping on the Edsel earlier, but it's on the dirt track racing, and that's just a cool part. There you go. Yeah. There's Rick's ride, or Larry. That's even better for you.
You can put the motorcycle back in there.
Yeah, you can just put it on top.
There were definitely some unique things there, and there were some really cool rides there too.
I really like it because of just the variety. I mean, you'll have guys with rat rods that you need a tetanus shot to get 30 feet away from, parked right next to like a 50 Merc with a beautiful flame paint job. And I mean, it's just, there's everything there.
You know what, Ed and Brad, I thought my favorite part of it was all the kids there and the families there. And I didn't know how you guys got them to come in there, like all the car shows we go to.
That's how we
hardly
promote
any.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we promote it as a family event, man. We want the families there. We want your kids there. We want, we have families that the whole family dresses up. The girls are dressed up pinup, and the boys are dressed up as greasers, and the whole family joins. So we want it that way. We have a kids tent where kids get airbrush tattoos, and the girls get their hair and makeup done, and boys can sit in a 50s barber chair and get not a shave, but I mean a free cut, and a lot of different kids events, valve cover, soapbox racing, and just all kinds of stuff for them to be a part of.
I don't know of anybody, Ed, that when them kids are walking around, the families are walking around, everybody's doors are open. All the cars that show up, if those kids want to sit in the car, I don't know of anybody that wouldn't say, "Hey, get in the car." You want to sit in this thing, sit in it.
I have to say, it's a very unique environment when you go out there. When Rick and I we plan to come back if we can ever. We're trying to spread our wealth here, so to speak, of hitting the car shows and that. But it's a very family friendly environment, and it's so much fun. I mean, we didn't want to leave.
Yes. And it's dirty. It's dirty too, you know.
I can't say that. When I first get there, I see Ed and I'm like, I am out of here. I am out of here.
How many people you figure come out to that show?
A bunch.
You never had.
Honestly, I have no idea. I don't pay attention to it.
11.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like there's like maybe 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, to be honest with you.
Wow.
There's a guest attack. It's just solid people on Saturday, especially.
Yeah.
It's just Saturday people. Well, the lineups at the food vendors. Oh my goodness! I mean, it's just lined up. It's crazy. And everybody's got a smile on their face. So
I think it was last year or the year before, by like the gates open at 9 on Saturday. By 11 o'clock, there was like 1,700 and some odd cars that came through the gate.
1,700. Wow.
God. And this started
that's not including cars that are already in there that come all day. I mean,
they do. They come all. I mean, honestly, like that. It was from one gate to the other.
Can you camp out? Can you camp out there if you want?
What's that?
Yeah.
Can you camp out there if you want?
Yeah.
You can camp out. There's a camping ground there.
There is campgrounds. Campgrounds have, there's 171 sites. They all have water and electric. We have a shower house there.
Oh, my God.
What's the cost to camp out there?
$50.
Oh, my God. That's like a steal.
Weekend. That's the whole weekend.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And that's with your utility hookups.
Oh, my God.
But it's getting
like
to the point. I mean, honestly, it's getting to the point to where, like, you know, like this year, if you don't get your campsites right after the event, you're probably not going to get them because, I mean, literally within a week after the ruckus last time, we had sold probably 70% of the campsites.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Well, I got to go back to your first annual one. How many people, you know, how big was it when you first started? This will show of how big this event's gotten.
No, really. There was 13 people there.
Yeah. There was
13
there was like 13 people.
13 people and then up to 1,700 plus.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't bad. It's just, it was brand new. And, you know, I showed up and literally I did not know Ed Stanton. And I went over there and I parked in the wrong place. And the worst thing I did, he teases me till this day. I trailered my old truck over there because I live 3.5 hours away from him. And so I trailer my old truck and I go, hey, where do you want me to park the trailer? And he goes, trailer?
Outside the gates.
Trailer? What?
Outside the gates.
Drive your stuff? I'm like, no, right. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I get it. So from that point forward, I haven't really.
So your life's been downhill ever since then, right?
Knowing Ed, yeah. Oh, you mean the show? Yeah. I love you, Ed. I really do.
So if you guys want to,
it shows.
If you guys want to register a car, what do you have to do?
There's no registration. Just show up.
Registration. Okay.
Yeah,
and there's no class. I understand too. No class.
Well,
no class.
So there is. There's
a song in there somewhere.
There, per se. But there is. We do have a car show portion on Saturday, and to give you an idea of how many people actually care about the car show portion of our event, we had, you know, like I think it was last year. From 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, we had over 1,700 vehicles coming to the gate. They were coming in all day. But let's just say that no more came in after that. There was only 117 cars that registered for the car show.
Okay.
Oh, yikes.
Nobody cares about it.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Everybody comes for the entertainment. They come for the track. They come for the pinups, the bands, all the other stuff. So we do have a car show portion on
Yes,
Saturday.
Rick, we know.
there is. I know.
How about the Wall of Death, dude? You forget the Wall of
Yeah,
Death.
I was going to ask.
You asked about the car show.
Yeah.
Let's finish up the classes on the car show real quick. But it's just real simple. It's hot rod. It's hot rod, lead sled, gasser, rat rod, and then that's it, right? 5 classes: hot rod, rat rod, lead sled, gasser.
I don't know how many trophies did you weld up in like the last hour you were at home before you went over there?
You guys do that too?
Oh,
yeah.
So
I need a camshaft. I need a camshaft. I need a brake drum. I need a brake drum. Quick, where's a brake drum? Over there. Take it off the car.
Oh, so you
we have
did
a
give
best of
trophies
paint,
out
too.
then, huh? Okay.
Yeah, trophies. So the car show starts at like 10 o'clock or something, and the trophies are usually being made at about 11:30. It's bad.
Oh, so it's the parts you take off the cars out there. So you just go kind of swipe some parts. That's a good idea.
We take the parts off the track. You know what I mean? Like when Etzel goes on the track, everything it leaves behind. There's
a dry shaft.
I'm not the guy that lost his bumper jack part going to lunch the other day, dude.
Oh,
I did.
That was you.
I did.
And you should set up a welding stand right in the center of the track, and then when parts fly off, you just go grab them and start welding, and have that as a centerpiece.
Yeah. I lawn darted one of the running boards from a little black truck in the track, and it catapulted the whole truck, almost flipped it.
Oh my God! That's a question I do have. Any regulations on racing out there on the track?
No. Yes. Well, here's the thing. So in order to get a vehicle into the event, it has to be a quote unquote show car. Like it's got to be something that you take to car cruises, car shows, stuff like that. You cannot go buy a $300 beater, trailer it in, and go out on the track just to destroy it.
Get it.
So basically the way that we regulate the track, there's, I hate saying this, but there's really no rules. I mean, you're a safety belt,
and helmet. Yeah.
Safety belt and helmet.
That's awesome. That's the way it should be.
Turn one. Listen, if you're going to take turn one at 100 mile an hour, I hope you're still able to drive your stuff home afterwards.
Now, is the track pretty rough, or is it pretty leveled out?
No, they prep it. The track's good. Track's good. The faster you go, the smoother it is.
Okay, just bounce over the bumps.
But it is, but that's how we regulate it. I mean, pretty much everybody that comes out on the track, they have the caliper of vehicle to where they want to have fun, but they don't want to put it into the wall, and they need a ride home.
Yeah.
So,
does it cost anything to go on the track?
The track, it does. You can get an all-day track pass for $20, and then you can go out there as many times as you want.
Oh my God, I'd blow up the car. I'd just be out there all the time.
You get 4 laps each time you go. So.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 laps.
That was my next question.
Just go back in line.
If you can make it.
We literally have got, all day, Brad knows, all day. They'll come off the track, and they will literally go off the track and right back in line.
That's so fun.
And that's how they spend the whole day.
Oh my God.
Dudes will have somebody go get them something to eat. They'll stay right there in line. So
that would be fun though. That's fun to go on a track.
It's just fun to watch them because you get everything out there. There's anything and everything that runs out there than when we were there. It was just anything. It's great.
Yeah. The only thing that gets trailered in is legit vintage dirt track stock cars. So you'll have some old race cars out. You'll have single seater, 20s.
Wait, are you talking about me? Are you talking about me?
Let's see.
59 Etzel. 59 Etzel. It's a single seat because nobody wants to ride with me.
Yeah.
Is that your Etzel we showed before?
Yeah.
You'll have
that's awesome. I love that
cars. You'll have legit, vintage dirt track cars. You'll have old stock cars. Listen, there's some old guys with like the most beautiful 32 you've ever seen, and he's out there on the track driving it like he stole it. 59 Cadillac. Guy brought a 59 Cadillac. It was a pristine 59 Cadillac, and he's literally out there slinging that thing sideways around all the turns.
That's awesome.
Coming into turn 3 and 4 and sideways the whole way through.
That's what you got to do. Drive them like you stole them, right?
Yeah.
Three guys with him. 3 guys with him in the boat throwing that thing into the corners. It was amazing. There's a video on YouTube of him doing that.
Oh man.
I'll guarantee you he was probably hitting turn 3 at about 90.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's just half the fun of that place. So, where can you find some information on Rockabilly Ruckus
website?
Fairgrounds.
Yep. Website www.rockabillyruckus.com. All the information's there. All the camping stuff's there. You can buy pre-sale tickets. We sold out of camping a while ago, so there is none of that. But if you do want to be put on a waiting list, you can get on the waiting list for camping.
Man, that's like I said, we have the 4 R's, and it's pretty easy to remember. Rockabillyruckus.com and reliabilityrally.com. Yeah. So Larry, got any more questions for Lou?
Well, I think the couple of questions I have is based on the entries that you can see, besides the Sportster, of course, what are some of the more notable bikes that will probably go, aha, look at that. Will it make it?
There's always some weird stuff that shows up. This year, I think we're going to be graced with 2 Yamaha TDM 850s, which were only sold in the US for, I think, 2 years. 2 years. It was like a 92 and 93 only. So those are, to have 2 of those show up at the same event is impressive. The Honda PC 800 is another favorite. There's always at least one of those that weasels its way in. Here's a good story. I don't know if he's going to make it in time because it's still being assembled, but a buddy of mine bought a Buell 1125R frame. He got the frame for $1,000, and he's building literally. It's like the Johnny Cash song, one piece at a time. He's building this bike one piece at a time. We'll see if it makes it. It's not quite on the road yet, kind of like your Sportster.
How many guys are going to be in their racing leathers with pucks all brand new and everything?
So we survey everyone to see what your riding preference is. Some of the guys want to go a little quicker, so we put them in the spirited group. Other guys just want to take in the scenery, and we call that casual. So we want to make sure everyone's comfortable. We don't want anyone pressured to ride faster than they are comfortable doing. So the lead groups will be going pretty quick, and the casual groups will be as relaxed as you choose.
You know what? I got a quick question for Brad and Ed. Bikes on the track. You get any bikes on the track racing?
Oh yeah.
All right, Lou. Actually, bring that $1,000 ride out to the Rockabilly Ruckus and run that thing.
So Sunday we're changing things up. Sunday's our motorcycle day. So on Sunday, any of your bike can ride through the gates. But in order to be part of it, we have a Kicker Era bike show on Sunday, which is a $10,000 purse. And in order to be part of the
$10,000
motorcycle,
Yikes.
It's just what it says, Kicker Era, which I think Harley quit in like 86 or something. So
it depends the model.
Yeah.
Well, there's the knowledge right there, Larry.
So any motorcycle can ride through the gates on Saturday, but in order to be part of the event, basically the way the fairgrounds is set up, you come through the main gate, and then the first thing that you're going to see probably, 200 yards down, 150 yards down is the back of the Wall of Death. So if you're a newer bike that doesn't qualify for the Kicker Era show, then you're going to be between the entrance and the back of the Wall of Death. And then if you're part of the Kicker Era show, then you're going to be parked right in front of the Wall of Death.
Nice. Yeah, I just wondered there. So it blends into everything here. Larry, any final questions before I want to wrap? I got some stuff to wrap up on in this show. It's coming this season, so we got some car shows to talk about to come up. So.
No, I think Lou pretty much touched upon everything. I look forward to it. I think it'll be a lot of fun, good camaraderie. I'm looking forward to seeing the other riders and the bikes. And I'm looking forward to trying to place as well as I can. I have a little bit of pride in what I do, and I'll try and place well.
Lou, I want pictures of Larry. So, we need those.
We will supply them. We've got 4 events lined up this year. They are all currently sold out. So we're looking to grow this thing. They sell out really, really quickly. We're glad we were able to get you in, Larry.
Cool. I appreciate it too.
We're looking to grow next year. So keep an eye on the website. There's an email list on the website. So please join the email list if you're interested at reliabilityrally.com. That'll keep you in the loop for all future event information.
Awesome. Reliabilityrally.com. And we have the rockabillyruckus.com. It's roll on this whole show. And I wanted to touch on, we got some shows coming up. I'm just looking through the list.
We got the Hollywood Nights coming up here.
Hollywood Nights is coming. Well, no, that's September 25th. So what's starting up is Lowville. We've got Lowville cruising coming in. Here's what I wanted to bring up. And for you guys in the Mahoning Valley here, the Holiday Inn in Boardman is starting a car show on Wednesday nights, 5 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. So I think they're going to pull in that Wednesday night crowd that we've been kind of lacking around here in the Mahoning Valley.
Nice.
Yeah, that should be. that should be a nice show because we've got, that's pretty much, we used to have some Wednesday shows going on, but they're all gone now. So they pulled in Wednesday.
How are you going to keep all those guys awake at 11:30 at night? Most of those guys that got those nice cars, they're like,
that's what the Holiday Inn's for.
They're like,
they want to book the rooms. You have a few too many at the bar and just book the Holiday Inn and be done. So
they take off by 8 o'clock. Gone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice place.
Talking about old guys yard over here.
Yeah, I can see.
I'm out there hammered on that rear wheel, jacking it up. I've got a lift in the garage, but I wanted to have a second jack that I can just slide under, especially a Harley, and just jack the bike straight up in the air. So I bought this thing used. It was Craftsman. It pumped up really good. So I get the bike, I start pumping it up. As soon as I get it up in the air, it goes back down. I get it up.
There's some fluid in it.
I have a little, I've got a professional, it's like a little brick scissors jack, but it's a heavy duty one. And you put a 13/16 socket on and you put it under there with a couple blocks and that cranks that thing right up. But, I'm going to get that wheel off the back end tonight and then, I'll spoon it off tomorrow and put a new tire back on. I think I'm just going to have to go with the mags, even though I got the really cool looking wire wheels, but I just am not certain about, Lou, there's a spacing, especially with the Harleys. They're only a little bit different on each side. And you know what? I don't have time to make spacers and so I'm just going to probably run the tubeless. And that way, if something happens, I can plug them. But with new tires, you'd have to do something to flatten the thing,
One other thing, there's a couple other shows I want to mention. The Cars Are the Stars 7 classic car show. It's in Girard at the Multi-Generational Center. That's on June 4th. That's going to be a big one. And, we just did let me put it to you this way. We just had the Brothers of Power on the last podcast and it skyrocketed. They, I said, unfortunately, I had to move my vacation.
Yeah,
we're not going to be able to come out to that one, but I'm encouraging you all to go out to that one. It's going to be big. I've had a lot of questions on the Brothers of Power.
We'll catch it next year.
Yep.
We'll catch it next year.
Yep. So we're going to wrap up this. See, wait a minute.
Hold on a second. Hey, we got the next show number 34. We're going to have Tab Jablonski on. He's our dent repair guy. So we'll see.
That's something good. We got Ted Jablonski coming on, Mosquito Lake Dent Repair, and Larry. We've got Brianne Poland from Royal Enfield Motorcycles. Coming on.
She's a longtime marketing director. I've known her for years. She'll be a fun guest, and she'll give you the lowdown. I mean, when they first started coming back into the States, I was like, oh boy, I don't know if I'd want that job. But now they're starting to be pretty well thought of, and people are buying them, and they're very reasonably priced, and they seem to have a good warranty. I've got a Himalayan, and it's done okay. I haven't had any issues with it. So that's good. That's what's coming up on our next podcast. So, and we've got some prizes coming up here. And
don't forget, we got 32 of our podcasts on YouTube.
Yep,
we've got to see some past ones.
If you want to see the video versions of these, it's on Armstrong Neighborhood Channel on YouTube. We've got 32 of them. Well, this one will be up also. And 33. You can also go to Buzzsprout and check out any of our other podcasts that we've done. They're all posted up there. We're going to have this one up there. And,
and we got recently, we put the IX Center one up there, the show.
Yeah, check out the Piston Power show at the Cleveland IX Center. We just were up there shooting the show, and that was a really good show.
Look forward to the Doc Snyder show coming up.
Yeah, we shot a show with Doc Snyder. As you know him, he's got Thunderbolts. He's got a ton of cars collection, and with his son. And we also did stop at the Dave and Ed swap meet. That's coming up first.
Also,
I'm gonna edit the Dave and Ed swap meet first before I edit the.
That you mentioned that Thunderbolt. So I was out at the Dave and Ed swap meets, and some guy had Thunderbolt on his shirt, and so I immediately asked him if it was the airplane or the motorcycle, the Buell, and or the BSA. And he looked at me and he goes, "No, it's a car." And I go,
"It's a
"Really?
car.
It's a car."
Yeah. It's a very expensive car. It's a race car. Yeah.
So he took the time to explain it was Ford and it was a drag racing car and all that stuff. So it's
they made 100 of them. Doc has the first one. He has the last one. He has 3 in between.
Yeah, he's got 5 of them out there.
5 of them. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
a factory race car. Yep.
But we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you to Brad Lewis, Ed Stanton, and you know what, Lou? I'm going to get this wrong. Lou Turicik?
Nailed it.
Yeah, I got it right.
How time you get a name right?
With the Bearded Wonders, we've got Rick Guerrera and Larry Ward.
Yeah.
And join us for all their podcasts on Armstrong Neighborhood Channel on YouTube and Buzzsprout. We will... Come on, Rick.
See you down the road.
There you go, Larry. Thanks.